Mình là Hạnh Ngân, hiện đang là một ca sĩ, nhạc sĩ trẻ hoạt động tại Việt Nam và mình cũng đang là một sinh viên cũng như là một cựu du học sinh tại New Zealand. Đất nước đã giúp mình phát triển và xây dựng một cái nền móng vững chắc cho công việc và cuộc sống của mình hiện tại. Và bởi vì thế nên là hôm nay mình sẽ xin phép chia sẻ nhanh về nền giáo dục New Zealand tới cho các bạn. Mình đã học 3 năm year 11, 12 và 13 tại Cambridge High School, thành phố Cambridge, New Zealand. Thì nghe thành phố Cambridge, New Zealand thấy lạ không hả mọi người? Và khi mà mình chuyển từ một cái môi trường như là Hà Nội, một cái nơi rất là xô bồ, nhộn nhịp, sang Cambridge, một cái nơi rất là ôn hòa và yên tĩnh như vậy, thì mình đã nghĩ là bản thân mình sẽ gặp rất là nhiều các cái vấn đề, cố gắng để gọi là làm quen và thay đổi cái nhịp sống của mình. Nhưng mà hóa ra lại không. Và tình cờ thay đây lại là điểm bắt đầu của mình để mình khám phá ra bản thân mình muốn gì. Tại Cambridge High School cũng như là tất cả các trường trung học phổ thông khác tại New Zealand thì học sinh không chỉ học kiến thức mà cái phương pháp học ở đây còn thực sự là hướng nghiệp cho các bạn rất là nhiều. Mỗi năm học các bạn sẽ được chọn ra 6 môn. Cái này hoàn toàn là quyền quyết định của các bạn nhé. Nhưng mà cũng sẽ có những người mà sẽ giúp các bạn thiết kế cái thời khóa biểu của chính bản thân mình. Nhưng mà bản thân mình thì mình tự chọn. Mình thì mình nghĩ đây là cái điểm khác biệt rõ ràng nhất giữa nền giáo dục của New Zealand và Việt Nam. Mình đã chọn khá là nhiều môn liên quan đến thiết kế đồ họa. Tuy nhiên thì sau 3 năm học thì mình lại hướng về nhiều môn liên quan đến truyền thông nhiều hơn. Và hiện tại thì mình cũng đang theo đuổi ngành marketing tại bậc đại học. Với một đứa mà rất thích nêu ý kiến cá nhân như mình thì thực ra là mình đã rất vui bởi vì là thầy cô tại Cambridge High School thì khuyến khích các bạn đưa ra những cái ý kiến chủ quan của bản thân và gọi là động viên các bạn, khuyến khích các bạn làm thế nào để tư duy và chứng minh cái luận điểm của mình thay vì là lập ra một cái khuôn và mong là các bạn sẽ lớn lên trong cái khuôn đó. Và đây là cái điểm tuyệt vời này. Chúng mình chỉ đi học từ 9 giờ sáng đến 3 giờ chiều thôi. What? Đúng, chúng mình sẽ chỉ ở trường từ 9 giờ sáng đến 3 giờ chiều, tức là tất cả những thời gian còn lại các bạn có thể dành để chăm sóc bản thân nhiều hơn này, khám phá ra những cái sở thích khác của bản thân cũng như là thử nghiệm với chúng. Chúng ta có thể nấu ăn, đi gặp bạn bè, đi chụp ảnh, vân vân và vân vân. Đấy là một cơ hội tuyệt vời để mình tiếp tục những cái sở thích và những cái đam mê của mình mà mình đã tạm gác lại sang một bên khi mà mình quá bận bịu với cả việc học từ hồi cấp 2. Mình đã sáng tác ca khúc đầu tiên ở New Zealand, quay những video YouTube đầu tiên của mình ở New Zealand, học cách để làm nội dung và thiết kế nội dung để quảng bá cho chính những sản phẩm của mình cũng tại ở New Zealand. Nhưng mình biết là định hình những gì mình muốn thì thực sự không hề đơn giản. Vậy nên mình ở đây để khuyến khích các bạn tham gia New Zealand Scholarship Bootcamp được tổ chức bởi NZiFOCUS, ENZ và KiwiBuddy. Và ở đó thì mình sẽ chia sẻ cho các bạn biết là làm thế nào để mình biết được là mình đã muốn gì, mình thích gì và mình đã nên chọn nghề gì. Tất nhiên là sẽ không chỉ có mình, sẽ còn rất là nhiều thầy cô cũng như là các bạn sinh viên đã từng theo học tại New Zealand hoặc là đang ở New Zealand. Và sẽ có những chuyên gia về tư vấn du học sẽ giúp các bạn bước gần hơn tới một cái học bổng du học New Zealand, hoặc chí ít thì cũng sẽ là giúp các bạn tìm hiểu được thêm về nền giáo dục New Zealand và tìm hiểu thêm xem là bản thân mình nên xây dựng một cái đường hướng tương lai như thế nào. Hãy cùng học cách định hướng nghề nghiệp cho bản thân và cũng như là bước gần hơn tới cái đam mê của chính bản thân mình qua New Zealand Scholarship Bootcamp nha. Hạn đăng ký là từ 13 tháng 2 cho đến 13 tháng 3. Vậy nên là hãy đăng ký ngay hôm nay bằng một cách rất là đơn giản vào app Road to Success, tìm New Zealand Scholarship Bootcamp và nhấn đăng ký. Hẹn gặp tất cả mọi người nha. Bye bye.
Thế vừa rồi là các bạn đã xem xem video của Hạnh Ngân, là vừa là KiwiBuddy Ambassador lại vừa là người đồng hành cùng với lại cô và chị trong cái thời gian thực hiện NZSB do NZiFOCUS và ENZ đồng tổ chức. Và trong cái thời gian này thì chúng ta có tới 23 trường tham dự NZSB và có học bổng cho các học sinh. Thì trong đó là chúng ta có trên màn hình đây là chúng ta nhìn thấy rất nhiều trường cấp 3 và có thêm 2 trường cấp 3 nữa tham gia vào cuối cùng cho chương trình của chúng ta. Đồng thời là đối với lại hệ dự bị đại học cũng như là đại học và các trường tư thì chúng ta có các trường ở trên màn hình này. Thì các bạn cũng đã nhận được khá là nhiều thông tin liên quan tới các học bổng rồi là cách hướng dẫn hồ sơ như thế nào. Thì cho tới nay thì những bạn nào mà có những cái khó khăn gì, ví dụ như là về cái cách lựa chọn các trường ra làm sao, thì các bạn có thể liên hệ trực tiếp với lại cô và đã có những cái form đấy, Google Form mà cô đã gửi rồi thì đăng ký, thì từ tuần này trở đi là cô sẽ gọi liên hệ với từng bạn để có thể hướng dẫn cái bộ hồ sơ của mình. Với lại cái nữa là trong cái NZSB này thì về cơ bản cô sẽ skip đây, tức là cái process của chúng ta thì có những bạn mà có gặp khó khăn, ví dụ như là việc chọn trường như thế nào thì có một số bạn đăng ký rồi này. Cái tiếp theo nữa là có những bạn cũng muốn là tìm hiểu thêm là cái cách để cái đăng ký phỏng vấn nào, tức là những bạn nào mà đã ready rồi ấy, đã sẵn sàng rồi ấy, thì các bạn có thể đăng ký để phỏng vấn học bổng. Đấy. Thế còn các bạn chưa ready thì các bạn có thể được tư vấn tiếp. Và cái cách nộp hồ sơ học bổng thì như các bạn đã nhìn thấy từ workshop thứ 3 ấy, là chúng ta đã có những cái list, những cái danh sách, và đồng thời là trong email đã gửi cho các bạn rồi, thì có những cái giấy tờ gì cần chuẩn bị. Thì những bạn nào mà gặp khó khăn gì cứ liên hệ trực tiếp với cô qua email hoặc là qua Facebook, thì đó là cái cách mà tốt nhất để có thể hỗ trợ được cho các bạn. Đấy, tiếp theo nữa là tất cả các hồ sơ thì chúng ta sẽ chuyển về admin.nzifocus.com. Như vậy là chúng ta còn có 2 workshop nữa, là workshop hôm nay là thứ 4 này, và tuần tới nữa là workshop 5 và workshop thứ 6 và cuối cùng nữa. Thì trong cái thời gian này thì chúng ta có thể là skip bất cứ một cái giai đoạn nào. Ví dụ như là có thể có một số bạn thì đã phỏng vấn rồi đấy, và có một số bạn thì cũng sẽ đang được tư vấn để phỏng vấn tiếp, bởi chúng ta có rất nhiều trường mà. Và như vậy là có nhiều bạn cũng bây giờ cũng đang nhắn cô là xin link. Thế như vậy là chúng ta sẽ luôn luôn vào trong cái bootcamp của chúng ta là có đường link ở trong cái event, để chúng ta có thể nhận được những cái đường link vào cái workshop của mình một cách tốt nhất có thể. Và như hôm nay thì là sẽ chủ đề của chúng ta sẽ là về Global Leadership. Thì đây là một cái vinh dự rất là lớn của NZSB, là có sự tham gia của trường Đại học Canterbury University, là trường nằm trong top 1% trên thế giới và có rất nhiều các ngành nghề mà học sinh và hiện giờ New Zealand cũng như thế giới đang rất cần. Và thực tế thì NZiFOCUS có rất nhiều các thành công, các học sinh đã vô cùng là thành công ở trong cái đã học tại trường Canterbury University. Đấy, chính vì vậy mà hôm nay thì cô sẽ chúng ta còn bao nhiêu phút nữa? Chúng ta còn 5 phút nữa thì là chương trình sẽ bắt đầu. Thế để chương trình bắt đầu thì một lát nữa thì cô sẽ mời thầy của trường, và bây giờ cô đã nhìn thấy là các thầy các cô đã ở trong phòng của chúng ta rồi, thì hy vọng là 5 phút nữa có nhiều bạn tham dự. Và hôm nay thì chúng ta sẽ có những phần liên quan tới là chúng ta sẽ có những breakout rooms này, chúng ta sẽ có những thực hành này, và hoàn toàn bằng tiếng Anh này. Hơn nữa là chúng ta cũng sẽ có một cái trò chơi cao hút nữa. Thế thì những bạn trong còn 5 phút nữa thì những bạn nào mà cần có những câu hỏi gì thì các bạn gửi vào cái chat box. Thì hiện giờ là cô đang nói tiếng Việt. Thế nhưng mà đến 5 phút nữa là chúng ta sẽ nói tiếng Anh. Và như vậy là lúc đó thì các guest speaker của chúng ta là từ trường Canterbury University sẽ thực hiện cái session này. Thế bất cứ những bạn nào mà có những khó khăn gì, ví dụ như là thấy các thầy cô nói nhanh hay là khó hiểu ra làm sao đấy, thì cứ nhắn vào trong cái chat box. Hôm nay cô sẽ làm assistant cho trường, sẽ hỗ trợ các bạn là cùng hiểu hơn. Thế nhưng mà cũng là một cái cơ hội để các bạn có thể là luyện tập cái tiếng Anh của mình một cách tốt nhất có thể. Đấy, thì bây giờ cô sẽ xin stop cái screen share này và để cho các bạn có thể có thêm để chúng ta có thể bắt đầu một cái chương trình khác, một cái slide khác để cho các bạn. Alright, so bây giờ thì cô xin phép cô nói bằng tiếng Anh nhá. Alright, so thank you very much everyone for coming here. I'm here a bit earlier with the students, so we've been speaking Vietnamese, and I hope that you will understand a little bit. but on the screen here, I have seen Will in the room already, Siti in the room already, and Micky in the room. And with our students, they are coming in at the moment. So we still have 4 more minutes for students to come in, and then our session can get started. And while we are waiting, I would like to screen share another slide, which I just screen share another one, which I would like to play a video of Canterbury University. It's a summary of everything about the university, and would give our students overall of what the university has to offer. And also on our NZSB bootcamp, we have we've done quite a few interviews of our Vietnamese students, like NZiFOCUS students, that they are very, very successful at the university. So and I will email you as well the link for you to learn more, like how are the Vietnamese students doing very well at the university, including academically, and also like how they can find their careers, and all of the tips and skills that they share with the potential Vietnamese students. on how to. So just bear with me for a second while we are waiting, and then I can play the video. Just a second, please. So I hope that everyone and the students enjoy the video to learn a little bit more about Canterbury University. As I mentioned before, you're welcome to go to the university website, www.canterbury.ac.nz, and also the university profile on our NZSB bootcamp on the platform. And also we have other sessions like student sharing as well, which I will help you to share the link and send to your mailbox. You can learn more about the university. And yeah, so let me just go back to the previous slide. Now it's 2 p.m. in New Zealand and it's 9 a.m. in Vietnam. And I'd like to say thank you very much for being here today. And lots of you have come to the room earlier since 1:30 New Zealand and 8:30 in Vietnam. And today is our workshop 4 of the our series of the NZSB bootcamp. I'd like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the university, especially Dr. Willian Shannon, who is our main guest speaker today, together with 2 of the associates from the international office, Micky and Siti, Karina, who are here today and leading the session on the global leadership. You students, you will have a chance to get to know the university and also some tips and skills and some the practices that you can learn more about global leadership, which is so important for your future study abroad, as well as your daily life as well. And before we get started, I'd like to invite our guest speakers to have a few words and we can get our program started pretty soon. So the first person I would like to introduce is Dr. Willian Shannon. If you would like to unmute yourself and also say hello to the students before we get started.
Thank you, Na. Kia ora koutou. Hello, everyone. It's very nice to be here with you today. Thank you for getting up so early on a Sunday morning to talk to us. I am the Internationalization Director in the University of Canterbury Business School, and I have a particular interest in global leadership. As Na said, this is a really important topic these days, so we're really looking forward to talking to you about that today. Thank you, Na.
Beautiful, thank you very much. And yeah, so we will get to know our guest speakers as in our session today. We have 2 hours together. And the second person I'd like to invite to have a few words with us is Micky. If you would like to unmute yourself and say hello to our students, please.
Sure thing. Thank you, Nas, so much for introduction, and also thank you, Will, for your introduction as well. So my name is Micky Lu, and good morning, everyone. I'm originally from China, and then I came to New Zealand actually 3 years ago, not far away. And I graduated from my master's degree of business management at University of Canterbury. And during my master's degree, actually, I did the research of global ethical leadership that I will be talking about in a few minutes during the session. So hopefully some of the research findings and also my personal kind of experiences would help you to understand better about this concept. And yeah, we're looking forward to talking to you more during the session. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much. And we are looking forward to the session too. Our third guest speaker today, Siti, Karina, I'd like to invite you to say hello to all of our students, please.
Thank you so much, Nga. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Siti Karina. I'm originally from Indonesia, and I actually came here about 5 years ago now. I did my bachelor degree at University of Canterbury. And the reason why I'm part of this topic today, I guess, is because I'm part of the international team. So I would giving you some sharing about my experience as a bachelor degree student at UC until I got into this role and working in an international team. Yeah, I'm very looking forward to this session, and I hope this session can be useful for you guys. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you very much. And we have two former students studying at university, and now they are working at the international office. And it's just amazing that you bring your experience here, like to share with the student. And it's just wonderful way to showcase to our students like everything's possible from like where you were as students and now you are working in the international office, and it's just amazing. And yeah, thank you very much for bringing the team for this session today. And the students of the first session, we have like 90 minutes of the workshop, and we have breakout rooms, and then we have some fun together. And then after that we have a Kahoot game, and the prize for the Kahoot game is 500,000 Vietnam dong for the winner. And lots of our students, I know that you love the Kahoot game, so hopefully you are gearing up for that. And then the last 30 minutes of the session today, we'll get to learn more about some key majors at the universities and what you can study and the how to, and hopefully you just meet the right people here from the university for you to learn tons of valuable information today. So let's get ready and listen in, and also just if you have any question, please feel free to type in the chat box, and then later on, probably in the last 30 minutes, you can just unmute yourself and engage with our guest speakers from the Canterbury University as well. So my introduction has been completed, and I would like to set Siti and Micky and also Willian as co-hosts, and you can screen share as well. So I'd like to stop the screen share here so we can get started. Right, okay. So I make Micky as co-host. All right, you are already awesome.
So can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Great. Thank you very much, Na. Thank you, Karina, for sharing. So let's make a start. As Na said, the plan today is we won't just be talking to you the whole time. We want to have some interaction as well. So we have some exercises where you can talk to each other and discuss what we are focusing on today. Also, if there's anything that's not clear, if you can't hear us properly, or if what we're saying maybe you're not quite understanding, or just you have a question, please do feel free to write a message in the chat box or put your hand up, and we will we're happy to interrupt our talking to answer that. We would much rather deal with any questions you have as we go rather than you know, continuing talking when you maybe can't understand us. So please do let us know. So the theme of today's workshop is becoming a global leader, as Na talked about. And Micky will talk a little bit more about an idea of what global leadership is when she talks in about 10 to 15 minutes. Specifically a form of global leadership, which is global ethical leadership. But I think just to really simply say what we are focusing on today and what we are talking about, it is really the set of attributes that are required to work and lead in international teams. So Micky, Karina, and myself are actually what we would call an international team. So we're not only talking about theory, but also practice, because we live and experience this every day. So hopefully you can learn some practical examples from us as well. So Karina, we'll go to the next slide. Thank you. So there are three things that we want or hope that you can get out of today's workshop. Actually, I think this slide might be a slightly older one, so I'll just read it out and say, so basically the first one is that we hope that you'll understand why it is important to develop the attributes that are necessary to work and lead in an international team. So attribute, we mean basically the skills, the knowledge, the attitudes that are needed to do a particular thing. In this case, to be the member of an international team. So firstly, we want you to understand why that is important to have those attributes. Secondly, we want you to understand what the key attributes are that are required to work and lead in international teams. And then thirdly, we want you to understand or think about how studying abroad can help you to develop those attributes. So Micky and Karina and myself, although going in another direction, have all had this experience of studying in another country. And we all feel that this is an experience that helps you to build up some of these knowledge, attitudes, and skills that can help you to work in an international team. Okay, thank you, Karina. So the first thing, just to start at the very beginning, what is an international team? So when we say that we want you to develop these attributes that are necessary for working and leading in an international team, what are we talking about by this concept of international team? So basically, we're talking about a team whose members come from 2 or more national backgrounds. So a very practical example is myself, Micky and Karina. We come from 3 different countries. I was born here in New Zealand and have lived most of my life here. Karina is from Indonesia, as she said, and Micky is from China. So we are, by definition, an international team because we all come from different backgrounds. But we would be equally an international team if 2 of us were born in New Zealand and 1 was born in Indonesia. As long as there are 2 or more people in a team that were come from a different background, a different country, then that is an international team. The second part that I've put there is that the team may or may not be globally dispersed. By that I mean you may be located in one place. So Micky, Karina, and I are all located in Christchurch. We share the same office physically, so we're not globally dispersed. So by dispersed, we mean we're not spread out over different places. However, some international teams are globally dispersed. They might have 1 member based in New Zealand, 1 member actually in China, and 1 member in Indonesia, and they work on the same things. That would be an international team if all of those people came from different countries originally, but it doesn't have to be like that. Okay, thank you, Karina. So we're going to actually start straight away with an exercise for you, because before I talk about what are some of the reasons that it is important or that we think it is important to develop these attributes necessary to work and lead in international teams, we're really interested in hearing your perspectives and getting you to think about why this is important. So what we're going to ask you to do is just take a couple of minutes on your own right now, just with hopefully you've got a pen and paper in front of you, or maybe a computer or your phone, where you can just think about and write down some things yourself. And then we're going to put you into groups where you can discuss it with your other people for 5 minutes. And then we're going to ask 3 volunteers to share a summary of your discussion to the group. So basically, we want to know why you think it is important to develop the attributes, to develop the attitudes, the knowledge, the skills that are necessary to work and lead in an international team. Okay, so while we're working out the breakout rooms, please just take a couple of minutes on your own to think about this, and then we will put you into some rooms to discuss further. Does that sound okay now? Or...
Yes, that's awesome. So what I can do is that I would like to invite the student to screenshot the message here, the task here on the screen, and then you can take with you into the room as well. So what I will do is that I will copy and paste into our chat box, which the student can follow up in your room as well. So now we have 38 people. Some people, for some reason, they can't log in, but I will check on the background here while we are doing the breakout room. But would you like to have 5 people in each groups? Well,
yeah, perfect, I think.
Awesome. So the student, I'd like to invite you to screenshot what you see on the screen here, and then we can get started. So shall I just do randomly, or
yeah, I think random is okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I can do in 6 rooms.
So I think it's 2:15 now, so probably around 2:20 we will come, but we'll give you a 1-minute warning, I think, when it's time to start finishing your discussion.
Awesome. So I'll do that. So we have altogether we have 6 rooms. So I'm going to open the rooms right now. So including our host will go into the room, I think. Would you like to go into the room to Siti and Micky?
I think, yeah, can.
Yeah, because sometimes students, when they don't know each other, and if they only have 5 minutes, and sometimes they just don't talk, right?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's the only reason.
And
right. I think, yeah.
I haven't got the invitation to go to the breakout room yet.
Oh, you haven't? Will's in room 6. Micky is in room 5.
Oh, okay. I think I can join.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll just go to room 1.
How are you, anh?
Okay, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, hi, Nga.
Hi, anh. Mr. Thắng from a school in Vietnam, Dewey School in Vietnam, and it's such a great private school, and we are so privileged to have been working with the school, and also he's been here to support our workshop and his students as well. So I'd like to introduce you to Will Shannon, the International Nation Director of Canterbury University. So who is the lead speaker today on our global leadership topic.
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Sorry that I'm using my mobile phone, so it's not Yeah, sorry, I cannot open the camera at the moment.
No
Yeah.
problem.
No worries, Hank. So I think I can bring the student back in now. What do you
Yeah.
think? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's fine. Yeah.
All right. They have 60 seconds.
I think maybe it might be too shy to share in front of the whole group. Do you think?
It depends. Some students will.
Okay.
Most of them might be shy. Normally they like some warm up.
Yeah.
So it depends. Yeah, but I'm sure there will be some student who puts its hands up as well.
Okay.
How was that intro room, Siti?
Yeah, I checked 2 breakout rooms, the first group and the second group.
Yeah.
It seems a bit quiet because they don't really know each other, but at least I already told one of the students didn't really understand the question. So
Yeah.
I just emphasize and give them the example.
Yeah. I copy the question into the broadcast, and
Okay.
only 2 minutes to allow them to look at it. So the next one will be good.
Okay.
Please? Yeah.
I think I'll just share my screen again.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So I think everyone's back now, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I think obviously it's quite early in our session, so maybe we just need some time to warm up. But as the question said, basically we're just interested in your ideas for why you think this topic is important. So I know that you have hopefully thought about this question and now posted it in the chat group as well. So I'm wondering if there's anyone who would like to share their thoughts for why this is important. Please, if you're happy to share this, you can just unmute your microphone and say it. Or if you're not comfortable with that, you are also welcome to type something into the chat box as well.
Okay. Anyone in the room would like to give it a go? You can unmute yourself as well. So can anyone? Do you understand the question? If you do, can you type yes? And if you don't, please type no, and then we will know next time what we need to do first for you to understand before you go into the breakout room. You understand? Okay, so now do you understand? Yes, okay, Vân Anh, yes, thank you very much. And who else? Who else understand? Ngọc Mai, okay, thank you very much. Huyền Nguyễn, okay, awesome. That's great, and thank you. Okay, anyone else? Thanh An Chen, yeah, lovely. Trang Nguyễn, yes, awesome. Thank you very much. So I just wonder, right, in all of the students saying yes here, and we have Phúc Nguyễn as well. Like to give it a go and unmute yourself. And how long do they have? Like 1 minute or 2 minutes per person? What do you say?
Yeah, 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, Thùy Dung said no, sorry. Okay, we'll follow up. Thank you. Okay, so now out of these students, I'd like to invite who would like to give it a go. Ngọc Mai, would you like to share your ideas?
Okay, so for answering this question, I have two. I think that we need two main characteristic is about confidence and open mind. First about the confidence. If you don't be confident in front of a lot of people, or be extrovert with international people, so it's really hard for you to connect it with everybody to know about their opinions or work with them. And the second is about the open mind. I think that it's really important because if they don't understand other opinion or want to know about their opinion about something, or it's also difficult to work with them, and they cannot they just can work with themselves and cannot connect with other people. So that's my thoughts.
Thank you very much. Very good thoughts. And I think confidence, you showed good confidence yourself in speaking in front of everyone at the start. So well done and thank you. I think when we get to the point when Karina talks about her experience studying abroad, definitely confidence is one of those things that she will focus on, because you're right that to, I guess, develop these skills that are important for working in an international group, you do need confidence to be able to put yourself into situations that are maybe a little bit uncomfortable, because that's the way that we grow when we are uncomfortable, and it definitely needs confidence, and confidence is something that you build over time. I don't think we all start confident, but as we do it more and more, we become more confident and comfortable. So definitely. And then the other one, open mind. Yeah. And I think Micky will talk a little bit about this later, and Karina as well. But I think having an open mind is probably the most fundamental, most important thing for being able to work in an international group, and we'll expand on that later. So definitely, thank you very much. Is there any? I think we have time for one more. If there is one more person that would like to say anything, otherwise we can move on.
Yes, so now I have few students here typing yes, and I just wonder if anyone put your hands up and share your opinion as well. And yeah, what Ngọc Mai share just awesome. Vân Anh?
Thanks a lot. Yes, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, no different. So now I will mention about the benefits of have a chance to work and lead in international teams in terms of the working aspects, because you have to work with a lot of people from different backgrounds. So therefore it will kind of help you to enhance your experience and your skills to work with different people. Yes, so and also it somehow will diversifies your experience. And in terms of the leading in the international teams, it will somehow the benefit of it is it will help your team will reach your target goal, and somehow you will have a chance to connect with people in a team. So I think it's my viewpoint for this question.
Wow, thank you very much. And
Yes.
I think that's an excellent place to move on to our next slide, because your first point is a point that I want to make as well. So thank you very much. Karina, I think we can move on to the next slide now. So as you said, we have to work with a lot of people from different backgrounds in our careers now, and that's more and more the case. You know, maybe 50 years ago it wasn't so much the case, because we lived in quite homogenous, by that I mean quite similar societies where the people often came from similar backgrounds, and we weren't so as connected with the rest of the world as we now are. But today we will end up working in international teams. That's almost certain. So I think if we move to the next slide. So there are a few reasons for why this is the case, that we will end up working in international teams. The first is that the societies that we live in today are increasingly diverse. So for example, in New Zealand, more than 1/4 of our population was born overseas. So 27% of the people living in New Zealand were born in another country. So they have come here from somewhere else. And that's increased from 23% in 2006. So it's changing and it's getting more and more. So if 27% of the New Zealand population was born overseas, that's quite a high chance that someone in the team that I'm working in will have been born overseas. Secondly, it's not just the case that we live in diverse societies, but employers increasingly value diversity. By that, I mean the people that are managing companies, making decisions about who they will hire, are increasingly saying it is a good thing for us to have an organization with staff members that come from different backgrounds. Now, that's not just national backgrounds, it's cultural, it's religious, it's gender, it's sexual, it's lots of different things in terms of diversity, but definitely nationality is one of those things. So they see it as a good thing. And that is increasing as well. So you can see there that was rated by 69% of leaders in this big survey in 2017 rated diversity and inclusion as important, and that was up from 59% in 2014. So it is changing. And one of the reasons for this is that they see it as valuable to their organization. So it's not just because they want to do the right thing, which of course it is the right thing to have diverse organizations, but they see it as ultimately good for their own organization. So that's something really important to remember as well. And actually in Asia and Oceania, where we're based, that is even higher. So I think in Asia, it's 78% value it as highly. And in Oceania, which is where New Zealand and Australia are, it's 75%. So even more so in the countries where we live, diversity is valued by employers. And then the final point, which is increasingly the case, is that our teams are no longer just based in our own country, they're spread all around the world. And as it says there, more than 3/4, actually 89% of people surveyed in another survey said they were the member of at least one global virtual team. So by that, it means that they had members of their team, or they were part of a team that had members spread all around the world. So the chances are they also were working with people from different countries as well. Okay, thank you, Karina. So, as I said, all of this means that you will inevitably work in an international team. So inevitably means that you will almost certainly work in an international team in your life, probably as soon as you enter the workforce, to be honest. And the second point I want to make is that that is a good thing. So another important reason for us to be talking about this subject is not just that you will work in an international team, but it is a good thing that you will work in an international team. Karina, thank you. So as this quote here says, if teams or organizations want to be innovative, if they want to be creative, they need diversity. So diversity is so crucial for creating change, I guess, for having a creative organization. Why is that? Well, there's a number of reasons, but basically, by having an international team or a diverse team in other ways, we have different perspectives because, for example, Micky, Karina, and I, we all grew up in different environments. So that means we all grew up learning how to think about things in a slightly different way. And that means that we bring different perspectives. So if we are thinking about the same problem, we will each think about it in a slightly different way. And that's partly because of the context in which we grew up. And what that means is that because we're thinking about things from different angles, from different perspectives, we ultimately come up with better solutions. Whereas if everyone's from the same background, we might look at it from a very similar angle. And that means that we might miss something really important because none of us are thinking about it from a different perspective. So because of that, it can enhance our creativity. It can make us more creative. And ultimately, it can improve the performance of the company or organization that we are part of. And the other aspect of it is that it can change the way that we think as individuals and lead to personal growth because we are hearing about different perspectives, and that helps us to grow as individuals because it broadens our awareness, I guess, of the options available, of the different ways that people might think about something. Okay, thank you, Karina. So the next thing is that, so as I've said, you will inevitably work in an international team, which is a good thing. However, the other reason that it's important to develop the skills to be able to work and lead in an international team is that it can be challenging. So you need to develop those skills to be able to do it well. Micky will talk a little bit more about a particular challenge when you're in an international team, which relates to different ethical standards and what that can mean. But very briefly, I just wanted to highlight that diverse teams that have different backgrounds, including different national backgrounds, often fail to achieve the benefits of that diversity. And the reason for that is that sometimes the minority group members, so if say there is only 1 or 2 people from another country, another culture, and the rest are from the, let's say in my case, from New Zealand, born here, they might overlook and ignore the perspectives of those that come from somewhere else because they are the minority. And that means that the benefits of diversity are not realized. Those people can even face discrimination, which not only affects the performance of the team, but it can have a significant personal impact on those individuals. So it's not easy necessarily to work in an international team. I would argue it can actually be very easy if you have the right skills and attitudes, but if you don't, it can be quite challenging, and it can even lead to conflict, discrimination, and very unhappy outcomes. So it's important to develop those skills that allow you to work effectively with people from different national backgrounds. Thank you, Karina. So as it says here, diversity appears to be a double-edged sword. By double-edged sword, we mean it has both a good side and a bad side. So it increases the opportunity for creativity. So that's definitely the good side. But the bad side is that group members can be dissatisfied and fail to identify with the group. So if we don't have people within those teams and leading those teams who have the right skills and attitudes, it can be a bad thing. It can lead to bad outcomes. But if we have people with those skills, it can lead to very good outcomes. So that's why it's important to develop those skills. Thank you, Karina. So that's my final point here. You will inevitably work in an international team, which is a good thing. However, this can be challenging. Therefore, it is important you develop the knowledge or skills and attitudes, the attributes necessary to maximize the benefits and minimize the challenges of being in an international team. Okay, thank you. So I'm now going to hand over to Micky, who's going to talk a little bit more about, I guess, some of the reasons that you might have challenges in a team, and also on the flip side, how that can lead to benefits, but also most importantly, the key attributes necessary to do this. So I'll hand over to Micky. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Will. As I did my self-introduction before, so I did my master's degree of global ethical leadership, and then I kind of found out some key, really important research findings of this topic. So, Karina, can you please go to the next slide? And then before I introduce what is ethical leadership, I just want to kind of have a brief about what I'm going to do, what I'm going to talk about. It actually can be divided into 3 different parts. The first one is to understand the concept of global ethical leadership. And the second one is, as well mentioned before, which is the most important part, to understand the key attributes of global ethical leadership, which means that by having that kind of key attributes, you will be able to lead to a positive outcome if you work in an international team. And I will also touch base a little bit about how to apply these attributes when working in an international team. And then my colleague Karina will then hand over to talk about how she applies and also more of her stories. Okay, so first of all, what is global ethical leadership? To simplify, I would like to break it down into 3 different components: leadership, ethical, and global. So first, leadership. You might think leadership is still kind of far away because you're still probably studying at high school, but having the mindset of leadership is actually quite important, especially when we're still growing up to an adult, as it will shape who you are in the future. Obviously, we can't cover everything about leadership today because it's a very broad topic. Some people even take their whole life to do the research of leadership. But I do want to point out something that I think would be useful for you to know or for you to start to think about it. First of all, leadership is a complex concept that cannot be defined in one way. And leadership is not only about leading people, it also includes other parts such as self-leading. It does not mean leading people and being an actual leader in the organization or professional workspace. It can also include like leading yourself to be a better person. For example, how to understand yourself better and how to make better decisions, or how to treat people if you have different opinions against theirs, etc. And also the third one is leadership is transferable within the team, which means everyone in the team can be a leader. Everyone can be responsible for certain parts if they are good at that part. So for example, like in our team, as Will mentioned, we are an international team. And we do have an actual leader, who is Will, right? But Will is aware that both Karina and I have our own strengths. So he will delegate his power to us when it comes to something that we are good at. Like I probably will be familiar with Chinese culture, and then Karina will be familiar with like Indonesian culture or broader Southeast Asian cultures. And when we deal with these students from that culture, of course, we probably have our expertise and knowledge to kind of deal with the problems that they might have. So it's actually a very healthy team dynamic if everyone in the team is a leader. So for the first component, which is leadership, the takeaway for you guys, if you can see the red words in the bottom, is that you don't have to be an actual leader to have the leadership mindset and skills. Thank you, Karina. Okay, so the second component is about ethical. Well, or you can say ethics. It sounds quite complex, but some people always think ethics is something that is related to legal behaviors or human moral, like something that is like a common sense around the world. But it is actually more than that. It also includes your personal values, your culture and religious beliefs, and also work ethics, which incorporates the organizational values and rules. So for example, you might have your personal values of being a good person, like helping others when they're in trouble, even though they're strangers in the street. And also, you might also have your own cultural beliefs. I'm not sure about other cultures, but in China, we do believe sacrificing our self-contract for a better good for the family or the whole nation is something that we need to be encouraged. However, this might not apply to everyone in every culture across the world, which is my second point. The criteria of being ethical varies, which means it's different from different contexts. Like I said before, you think helping strangers in the street is an ethical behavior, but others might think considering their own safety is more important than taking risk to help strangers. In China, we think collective interest is higher than the individual interest. But as we all know, in most of the Western countries, they might think their own individual interest is higher than anything else. So it really can vary from different cultures and countries. And also the final component is global. So some people would think global means universal standards, but it actually includes two layers, similarities and differences. So people, of course, have lots of common sense opinions, like we discussed before, such as we need to obey the law, or we need to obey the norms, or we need to protect our environment from being polluted, something like that. But in depth, people have more differences, and those differences are the beauties of shaping the world. We need to be aware of those differences and be open enough to accept them. Like Will mentioned before, having different opinions and ethical beliefs might cause lots of fights and conflicts, especially in the same team. It will lead to a negative outcome if everyone in a team only believes their own thoughts, own ethical values, but it might also lead to a very positive outcome if you can never imagine if you're open and listening to each other's opinions, even if you hold different ethical opinions. As well, because it will broaden your horizon to think things in different angles, in different ways. But of course, you don't really want to lose your own core values as well as your own identity of your own culture. So how to navigate the differences while keeping your own identity and core values would be the key to lead to the positive outcomes in your team. Thank you, Karina. Yes, like I said before, navigating the differences while maintaining your own identity and beliefs is the key to be a part of global ethical leadership. Okay, so let's move on to the kind of a definition. Actually, it was made by myself, and it needs to be adjusted while I'm doing more research. But so currently, global ethical leadership can be defined as the demonstration of normatively appropriate conduct through personal actions and interpersonal relationships, and the adaptability and maintainability of such conduct in different contexts through intercultural understanding and communication. It actually sounds quite complex, but just to be simple, just like what I said before, having the leadership mindset, even though you are not the actual leader in the team, and maintaining the balance between being yourself and also being adaptable to differences in the same time. That's the key points of the concept of global ethical leadership. Thank you, Karina. Okay, so I hope that you already have some initial thought of global ethical leadership. And now let's move on to key attributes, which is the most important part for today's presentation, that I found are really important to global ethical leadership, as well as if you want to work and lead in an international team. So as you can see in the slides, there are 8 attributes there. I will just have a very brief explanation for each of the attributes for you to understand. And then I will use a simple example to help you understand a little bit more. But please just put your hand up if you really couldn't understand, and I'm more than happy to take any questions. So the first attribute is being a moral person as an individual. It actually just includes the universal standards that I mentioned before, like you need to protect the environment, you need to obey the law in that country. You can't just, steal other people's things, something like that. And then the second point is openness. That's actually one of our students mentioned before, which is a very, very good point, that we need to be open enough to accept different ideas, even if it might be against your own values. Just try to be aware that your knowledge is not everything, it's limited. You can't just know everything, and then you need to acknowledge that. And you also need to acknowledge other people's expertise and knowledge. Just be open enough to accept that. And the third one is empathy. Empathy means you just need to be able to understand better about why they're thinking in that way, or where those different opinions are coming from. Just try to be empathetic enough to understand and also accept them. They're different from you. And authenticity. So authenticity, you can also call it honesty. So honesty means that it actually includes two layers. One is to be true to yourself, which means that you can't lie to yourself that I just need to get rid of all my core values. Of course, it doesn't make sense, or doesn't really apply to what we are saying, but just don't lose your own identity while adapting the differences. And also another layer is to try to be honest to others about your own feelings. If you disagree with someone, it's okay, just say it. And actually, I will talk a little bit more later that communication is very important to kind of learn from each other and also grow together. So be honest about your feelings to other people is definitely one of the ways that you could communicate with other people and learn from them. And the next one is equality. So equality means just treat everyone equally, no matter where they're coming from or whatever the level they are, their position is. So for example, like Will is well respected because he's the internationalization director in the school. But we don't really have a direct, but Will also equally because we do have expertise deal with certain things. And also you just need to understand that everyone is different, but everyone has some things that you can learn from. So to have that kind of attitude is very important. Treat everyone equally. And then flexibility. Be flexible to different contexts and environment. So for example, if you are in a different, for example, if I'm in New Zealand, then I definitely need to understand better about New Zealand culture, but we need to be flexible enough to understand why they're thinking that way or why they're doing this. It might be different, but in the meantime, just need to be acceptable, be flexible enough to accept this. And also, which is quite relevant, is cultural awareness, which means that you need to be aware that there are different cultures around the world. And please don't make assumptions for people that you might know or you might not know. So you might have some certain stereotypes or certain thoughts about that group of people, but that doesn't mean that everyone is the same. So you need to kind of acknowledge the regional differences within that culture or within that country. And also people, different person were grown up in different ways. So you need to acknowledge the individual differences as well. And the final point is consistency and transparency. That is actually more in the team level. Be consistent means that you need to be consistent with what you said and also be transparent enough within the team so everyone knows what you think and what's happening. And also, of course, you need to be transparent with the common goal that your team might have. So I think that's the key 8 attributes. And then I will use a very simple example. Sorry, Karina is not yet. I will just use a very simple example to kind of elaborate some of the key attributes. Okay, so for example, you know that I'm not sure about in Vietnam, but in China, we do think showing our respect is to is by shaking hands, especially when you first greet someone. And then we think, okay, so no matter who you are and no matter where you're from, and then we think shaking hands is the first step. However, in certain countries, it actually is not allowed or it's not encouraged the woman or the men are allowed to shake hands with the opposite sex. So be open enough, which means that you need to be open enough to accept that differences. If you're a man and then you are about to shake hands with a woman and then they said, sorry, in my culture, we actually can't do this, then you need to accept this. You need to be open enough to accept the differences, and also be empathetic to show your empathy and understand where those different opinions are coming from and why they are doing in this way. So that's very important. This also can help to enhance your knowledge about other cultures. And also, of course, authenticity. You might not agree with that. You might think, oh, what's the difference? Why we need to kind of treat men and women differently? You can raise your own opinions, of course, but of course, other people will have their own opinions, and then it creates a communication. So in that way, you actually can learn from each other and also just try to grow together. That's actually our daily things within our team, that we always want to, like, you know, raise our own different ideas, but in the same time, we actually are growing with each other as well. And then cultural awareness, which means that you need to be aware if you think, okay, this person might not be the same as me because we're from different countries, then you need to respect. You need to show your interest and ask enough questions to understand from their culture. Cool. Thank you, Karina. Okay, I know that it actually quite complicated, or might not be, like, some points might be very, very new to you. But I really do hope that you learn something from that. But like I said before, I'm more than happy to take any questions if you are not sure about anything. But I will just pause a second for you to kind of absorb that a little bit, and then also think about this question that you might be doing in a second, that choose two attributes and demonstrate how you would like to use this if you're working in an international team. And then we will also give 3 volunteers to represent their teams to summarize the key outcomes from your discussion. So we'll still do the breakout rooms, and then just try to discuss within the team and just to come up with the summary out of your team. So I will give you like maybe 1 or 2 minutes for you to think about. And maybe Karina, would you like, can you please just go back to the key attributes? And then our students can just choose 2 out of 8 attributes that you might think it's interested, or you want to speak a little bit more, and then you can just write it down or take some notes before you go into the breakout rooms.
Okay, so what I would do is that I would type this one here, the question, into the chat box, and also I would type to the breakout rooms as well. So I'd like to invite the student to screenshot what on the screen here, and the same the question before we go into the breakout rooms. Are you ready, students? Do you understand the question, guys?
Yes, do you understand the question? If you don't, then I can probably explain it a little bit more.
Yeah, so if you understand the question, can you please type yes into the chat box so we will know? Yes, okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Ngọc Mai said yes. Trần Thanh An, yes. Hân Nguyễn Thu Phụng Đỗ Kim, yes. Awesome. That's great. Hopefully 4 of you won't be in one room together. Yeah, Hoàng Tiến, yes as well. Lovely. Thank you very much. So now I'd like to invite you to screenshot this screen here, and also the question I will retype as well. And let's do it, right? And if anyone you don't understand, can you type yes as well, and then we'll be able to help you, and I will type privately to you as well. Okay. So shall I do the breakout rooms now?
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Na.
Okay, so I will do it. So we do 7 rooms. Right. Yeah, so everyone ready? And then I will type the question again as well.
was very good. We do have several students expressing, and thank you so much, guys. But I just wonder, like, do you guys, any volunteers that you would like to kind of represent your teams to summarize some key outcomes, or like some, I don't know, some key points that you would like to share?
Okay. So we're still waiting for, looks like everyone's back out now, hopefully. Okay. So who would like to give it a go? You can raise hands as well, and you can unmute.
Yeah. In our team, we do have one student talked about, like, they think openness and flexibility are quite important, which is very true. But yeah, I don't know what about the others. How do you think?
Do you remember the name of the students in your room?
Mai, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, I'm not sure if I pronounced the name right. But yeah.
Ngọc Mai. Is it Ngọc Mai?
It's me again.
Okay. Awesome. Would you like to give it a go?
Yes, of course. So my team just discussed about the moral person, and also I want to give my opinions about empathy. Like like a lot of people from different backgrounds, so they need to be empathy with other pupils, so they can know more about it. And it's easy to work with them in the group, and so they and about their moral person. If the teammate did not as characteristic, they also want to they can be treat other people, then don't have the best they have the how to say that they have the best decisions in the group to make the group better. So that is my other opinion.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mai. Thank you for saying that. And like you mentioned before, like openness, empathy, and flexibility are actually quite, how to say, they can complement with each other, I think. Because like you said, openness, which means that you need to know that people in your team are different, and also you need to be open enough to accept the differences. For example, like someone in your team might be very shy and don't like to talk. That's quite like, I don't know about the other cultures, but I know that in China, we're tend to be more like quite shy, especially during the discussion. And then, but some people might be very chatty. Like I know that most of the New Zealanders are like that. And then how to try to show your openness when you're talking to each other, not ignoring their own values and also their valuable ideas. Just to, I don't know, just try to show your openness and also be flexible as well. And like you said, to be empathetic, to understand where they're coming from, even though they held different ideas. Thank you so much, Mai, for sharing your thoughts and ideas. And I also know that you're studying in Taiwan. Maybe that's also why you can understand better about like international environment. It is very good. So definitely, I'm going to talk about a little bit more about international exposure. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
Lovely, thank you. I also got a message from Will to say that Phúc Ngọc Nguyễn from his room that had very good points. So Phúc Ngọc Nguyễn, are you here in the rooms? Would like to share your thoughts with us?
Maybe that's right.
Okay, do you want to share?
Wait, I have.
Yeah. Okay, you can get back to us. We have two other students who raised hands here. So we have Hoàng Tiến.
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, but can I answer the question?
Sure, yes.
Yes, thanks for giving me an opportunity to answer this question. I really appreciate it. Well, I believe that there are two attributes that I believe that I would like to use. I would like to use this if I am working in an international team, that is empathy and the cultural awareness. So firstly, I believe that each person has their own values, cultural understanding, backgrounds and perspectives that make them to be unique. And we can use our ability to emphasize and understanding others when working on this type of team. Well, and then I believe that there are some benefits that to be implicit when we work in an international team. Firstly, that is, it can improve our communication. And second is straighten working relationship. And the last one is both creating thinking. And the next one, also is the last one, is the cultural awareness. Well, from my understanding, that I believe that the cultural awareness helps us to break down the cultural barrier, build the cultural bridge, and learn how to love and appreciate those different from us. We can relate better to people with cultural difference as we begin to understand ourselves better. And this is the result in more cultural connection and less cultural conflict. And that is the end. Thank you for listening.
Wow, that's a very, very good point. I couldn't imagine when I was in high school, I can be that kind of high level of understanding about cultural awareness and empathy. Thank you so much, Juan, for your answers. That's fabulous. That's exciting to hear. And
Thank you.
Is there another student who just put their hand up?
Yeah, I saw it was Trang. So hands, it's the hand, raised hands not there yet, no longer there, but Trang Nguyễn, is that right? Would you like to give it a go?
Yes, it's me.
Oh, awesome. Go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is James and I would like to present room 3 to talk about two attributes and demonstrate how you would like to use it if you are working in an sorry, my voice is so correct, in an international team. And room 3 thing we have to attribute is that the ethical leader respect for order, because I believe an ethical leader demonstrate respect for our member of the team by listening conventionally to diverse contribution and considering a person's viewpoint. And after that, I think it's transparency, because ethical leader confess transparently no matter how unpopular the fact may be, and this leader understand that transparency raises trust, empowering others to make their own decision with information they need. And this is my team idea. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. I think the transparency part is very good point, and it kind of reminded of, like, actually, if you're wanting to be a global leader in the future, which might be related to our topic today as well, that being transparent to your whole team member is very, very important. Like you said, when you make decisions, you need to let everyone know rather than just make decisions by yourself. And also, like, you know, in the organization, some people, the staff will usually have the performance review, and the leader, as an actual leader, you also need to be transparent to let everyone know about the performance criteria before you assess their performance. So yeah, I think that's also can show like you're an ethical global leader. Thank you so much. Okay, considering of time, I think I have the last bit that I want to talk a little bit about, and then I'll hand back over to Will. So in terms of how to apply this attributes to the real world cases, I do want to give some tips and suggestions, but I know that Will and Karina will talk a little bit about more later. The first one is the significance of communication that I actually mentioned a little bit before. It was actually come out from one of my key research findings, and then it actually includes three parts: active listening, ask questions, and give constructive feedback. To be more specific, to be an active listener when you are having a discussion, and then just try to ask as many questions as you can, to be able to fully understand where the other people are coming from. And also you need to give your constructive feedback and just to be honest to other people about your own feelings, and then you will be able to communicate with each other and grow with each other as well. And the second point is to be open-minded, even if people disagree with you, that I actually have already emphasized a few times, and be culturally aware and show your interest about that culture, especially when you first meet that person from that culture. Just ask questions and to show your interest. And a final point, which I think Karina will be focusing a little bit more on, is about international exposure. That means if you are in an international environment, it will actually help you and enable you to think in an international way, or to be able to develop those attributes by applying them in the real world cases. Cool. I think that's all from me. And like I said before, we do have the Q&A session, and then I'm happy to take any questions if you have any. Now I will hand over back to Shannon, and then to have some other words. Thank you.
Thank you, Micky. So I'm going to very briefly talk before handing it over to Karina, and just building on what Micky ended with, and the importance of international exposure for developing these attributes that she discussed. So why is it that international exposure can be so valuable? And in particular, one form of international exposure, which is studying in another country as part of your degree or whatever that you do after you finish high school, or even as part of high school. So as we said earlier, Micky, Karina, myself, we all have studied abroad. So we understand why this can be very powerful in terms of developing these attributes. Karina, thank you. We'll go to the next slide. So I think one point that I really want to emphasize is that working in an international team is not easy, at least not straight away. It does become easier, but to start with, it is not necessarily easy if you are not used to that. The easiest thing is to work with and only associate with people who think exactly the same way as us. That is very easy. It's very comfortable, but also it won't challenge us. It won't make us better, and it won't make what we are doing and the outcomes of that better. So it is difficult, but it's also rewarding. And in that way, we can think of international exposure as being similar to exercise, right? So if I want to learn to run fast, maybe to run a marathon, or even some other kind of event, it won't be easy. The easiest thing is for me to just drive my car somewhere. But if I want to get fitter, I need to push myself. I need to start running every day even. And eventually I will get fitter and it will become more comfortable. So working with people that are different and being exposed to people that are different is very similar to exercise in that sense. You have to push yourself in order to grow your muscles, in order to become more fitter. And the pain that is associated with that, the discomfort, the challenging, maybe the even hurt that sometimes happens when we think that our own way is not the only way, that pain actually produces the benefits that we're talking about. And there is no better way to grow your muscles in this sense than spending time in another country. Not just going there as a tourist for 2 weeks, because of course that is good, But when you do that, you know that you're leaving again. You don't really need to adapt. You can stay in your own bubble. But when you actually move and live and study somewhere for maybe it's only 6 months, but maybe it's 3 years, every day you have to put yourself in a situation where you are being challenged. And maybe for the first week or two, even months, that can be hard, but eventually it becomes easier and more comfortable, and your horizons, your view is expanding, your muscles are growing, and you become more capable of working in an international team. So I'm going to hand over to Karina now, and she's going to talk about her experience of doing exactly that. Thanks, Karina.
Thank you so much, Will. Hi, everyone. As I already give a little introduction about myself. Again, my name is Siti Karina, and you can call me Karina. I'm originally from Indonesia, and today I'm gonna talk about how I gain international exposure through studying abroad. As Micky has mentioned in the last slide, international exposure is one of the ways to apply the attribute of global ethical leadership, and I will share to you guys about my stories, how I actually gained this. So before I actually jump to my stories, I would like to ask all of you guys here. I know that you are currently probably still in high school or already in college, and some of you might already have a plan of what you want to do after you graduate, and maybe some of you still figure things out. So I would like you to give 2 points of why you think studying abroad is valuable, and another 2 points of what scares you about studying abroad. Just just type it in the chat box, so we don't have to go into the breakout rooms. All right, so I haven't seen any comments so far.
So students, hopefully you understand the question. So you can see on the screen that you are invited to share your thoughts on 2 points of each. The first one is studying abroad is why you think studying abroad is valuable. And if you can just type what will come through your mind, then that'll be good. And the second one is that what scares you about studying abroad? Like, for example, like making friends or whatever the case that that you concern the most, you can type in here as well. So I think probably we have 2 minutes for you to type, and then because I think we have the Kahoot game and other stuff as well, so it will be very exciting. All right, so we can get started. Yeah, would like to go ahead and type it in the chat box so we can read it out for you as well.
And I think 1 point is also okay.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. I'd like you to read the answer as you can see it.
Yeah, so there's Chao Nguyen, sorry if I pronounce it wrong. Basically, studying abroad is valuable because it's experience new technology from different countries. That's very true. And then create more opportunities to find a good job. Yeah, that's very good point. I think you can meet people from different countries, culture, etc. Correct? I think studying abroad helps me to learn new languages. That's a very good point. Appreciate other cultures, overcome challenges of living in another country, and gain a greater understanding of the world. That's very good. I can study the subject that I really want to study, but in my country do not have it, and I can meet many people from different backgrounds. I really consider about discrimination and culture shock. So that's the thing that probably scares you, which is very understandable. I experience new things such as cultures, customs, people. I think study abroad that I will have the chance to see a side of my major that I may not have been experienced to at my home country. Yes, thank you so much, guys. That's all a very good point. And I think from Nguyen, when I really consider about discrimination and culture shock, that's very, I think that are the 2 points of what scares you, right? And this is the thing that I'm gonna talk about later on as well. Pros, broaden my horizon, build international relationships, better opportunities. Cons is costly cultural barriers. Yeah, all right. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for sharing. So now I would like to start off with my background a little bit. So I'm originally, like I said, from Jakarta, Indonesia, and I actually graduated high school in 2016. So you probably know how old I am now. I went to a local high school in Jakarta. So it wasn't an international school or whatsoever. So I had a very limited English knowledge back then. After I finished high school, I went to a local university back in Jakarta, and it was actually one of the best business schools in there. So other than studying, I like to make myself occupied outside the class. So I volunteered myself to be part of the organizers for a few events. And then the reason of this is because I wanted to gain a real world experience to prepare myself before I actually start working for my future career. So throughout these experiences, I learned a lot of soft skills, such as organization skills, networking skills, problem solving skills, negotiation skills, and teamwork skills. So actually the most important experience that I gained was the teamwork skill. Why I said this? Because any type of job that you will do in the future, it will involve working with people. It will involve working in a team. Doesn't matter whether you are going to have your own business or working at a corporate, you will need a team to get the business rolling. So these skills can't be learned from a book or by watching tutorials on YouTube, obviously. There are probably some books that taught you on how to work in a team, but in order to understand a different team dynamic, different type of people that you need to deal with, you still need to experience it. So because the job itself can always be learned by yourself, but to understand how to work with different type of people, you need to experience it to understand it. So for example, if you want to be an engineer, you can study engineering. And then if you want to be an artist, you can study art. If you want to be a pilot, you can study pilot. But to actually working with the people in the future, it's not something that you can just do it overnight or do it from the book, learn it from the book or from YouTube. So other than volunteering, I also did internship at a mall back at home. And I joined the event team there because it's something that I like. So my supervisor asked me that time, what was the reason I chose the university that I went to, which is the university that I went back at home. And my answer was simply because it is close to my house. And a lot of my high school friends go to that university. So in my mindset back then is just, I want it to be easy and comfortable. And I'm still surrounded by the people that I'm growing up with. So he asked me whether I have ever considered to studying overseas. And that time I told him I'm not ready yet because first, my English was still very limited. And actually culture shock was one of the reasons why I'm kind of feel reluctant to study abroad. And I'm also scared to live by myself because I've been living under my parents' roof for like 19 years. So I don't want to like cook by myself or like do everything by myself. I need someone to help me. So he told me that if that's the reason, then how could I grow? Because I'm always staying in my comfort zone. So he was actually the one who made me think a lot. And 2 months after that conversations, I arrived in New Zealand. So the next one, why did I actually chose to study abroad? Excuse me. So first of all, I want to improve my English. And then the second is get out from my comfort zone and face my fears of living alone. As you can see the picture on the right, that's your comfort zone, and that's where the magic happens. And that's very true. And I also want to make friends with people from around the world. All right. Okay, I don't have a fancy quotes like Micky or Will had. I just simply found this from Google, but I think it's very true that your life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And this is the reason why. So the first time I arrived in Christchurch was in 2017. So it was almost 5 years now that I've been here. And of course, the adaptation part wasn't easy. Like the first 3 months, I stayed at a homestay with a local host parents because I didn't know anyone at all before I came here. As you can see the picture in the first one there, that was me and my family and my host parents here. And then the picture in the middle, it was actually my first event at uni at University of Canterbury. And it was a quiz night where we have to work in a team of 4 people. And that night was actually the first time I had a proper interactions and teamwork with students from New Zealand, Malaysia, and China. So I'm not going to lie, the communication wasn't easy because my English was still very limited because I just arrived there, right? So from that quiz night, I kind of realized that this is something that I'm lacking of, which is the communication part, and also like working in a team with people from different backgrounds, even though I have a lot of that experience back at home, but it's very different when I came here. So I challenged myself again, tried to get out from my comfort zone. I decided to join different clubs every year to learn different things. And the last picture there is actually my first road trip in Queenstown, as my third goal is to get international friends. I actually went for a road trip with my friends from Japan, Malaysia, and also one of them is Indonesia. So in 2018, I decided to join one of the clubs at UC. It's called 180 Degrees Consulting. And I got the opportunity to work on a project in a team with one of the local nonprofit organizations here in New Zealand. At the end of the project, we had to do presentation in front of the professionals. And to be honest, that was the most nerve-wracking moment I had in my student life because I hated public speaking, especially in English. My English wasn't that good. And then public speaking is something that I always avoid. But then again, because I want to get out from my comfort zone, so I just gave it a go. And then after, in that year, I also worked part-time at Indian restaurant over the summer break to get more experience. The reason why I do this because I feel like if we always put ourselves in a challenging environment, it actually helps you grow. And I think Will and Micky talked about this before. And the good thing is I learned how to cook different meals every week. So now I can cook because that was one of the biggest, one of the reasons why I don't want to study overseas. And the following year in 2019, I joined the Canterbury Malaysian Student Association Club, or known as CMSA. And I was the only non-Malaysian team. So I could say I was the minority in that group. So this club is always organized events that are more Malaysian culture related. So basically, working in this team, I have to be open, I have to be flexible, and I have to be authentic or honest with my own opinions, because technically my perspective in the team is like a view from the other non-Malaysian students on campus, because I'm the only one who's not Malaysian, right? So as I mentioned, the key attributes that I learned from the role was openness, and then flexibility, and also authenticity. Openness is because I need to be open-minded enough to understand the Malaysian culture and their work ethics. I also need to be open enough to accept if people from Malaysia in that team disagree with my ideas. So the second one is flexibility, which like Micky have said, adapt to different environment, which includes different tasks and also project. And the third one is authenticity, which means even though I'm in the Malaysian team, does not mean I have to give up my own culture as an Indonesian and values in order to get along with the team, because differences is actually brings good things to the team. All right. And like Micky and Will have mentioned before, having a team member from different culture can bring an innovation. So that year in 2019, I came up with an idea of a new event called International Cultural Festival, where we collaborated with other international clubs on campus to include all the international students at UC, not just the Malaysians, and give the opportunity to New Zealand students to actually learn about other cultures as well. So in this case, even though I was the minority, I was the one who brought something new to the club, which is something like a change to the club. That's why, like Will said, it's important to have someone from different perspective, even though it's only one person in that group, but it actually can make a changes. So if you see the right photo there, it was me and Will in 2019. He was actually the one who sponsored my event at that time. And you never know, now he's my boss. So it's quite interesting sometimes, right? So in 2020, this was my last year at the university. I decided to join the most diverse club ever called UC Global Society, and I became the vice president on that year. So again, it is something that I did out of my comfort zone, yet something that I was craving for as well, because I wanted to challenge myself every year by joining different clubs and work with people from different countries. This team was a team of 13 students from 10 different countries. So imagine how challenging it was to have 13 hats with 10 different perspectives. And that's where I realized that the benefits and the conflicts having a diverse team are actually the same. So you will have a lot of good ideas from different perspectives, and it can give a better outcomes. It also improves your communication skills with each person from each country. But at the same time, you need to make sure that all voices are included in the decision making. And that's the challenging part. So to make sure that everyone is equal in the team, where at least each member need to be in charge for one thing. That's how I think we can be more equal. So for example, the president is the one who in charge for sponsorship. And then the treasurer is the one who's in charge for the money flows. And then maybe the event manager is in charge for the event planning. Like Micky mentioned before, being a leader in an international team does not necessarily being the president of the team. So you can also be the boss of your own area, and as a team, you must respect the decision of the person that is in charge. So I think the example that Micky mentioned as well in our team, like for example, Will probably will have a better perspective about the student in New Zealand, and Micky will be have a different better perspective about students from China, and then I will have a better perspective from students from Indonesia or Malaysia, for example. So we will be in charge for different things, and that means each of the team member are actually a leader. So the key attributes that are important is in this kind of team are be open-minded, and then equality, which makes sure you actively listening to everyone's opinion. And then cultural awareness is very important. And again, flexibility. And this flexibility is also including communication, where you need to easily adapt to different communication style from each person. Because sometimes, for example, maybe someone for example, maybe Micky is more direct from China, and then Will from New Zealand, he's more trying to give a hint instead of telling you what to do, for example. So that kind of stuff you need to understand, so it will avoid the conflict in the team. So how was all those experiences benefits to my current role? Well, it is, first of all, it increased the creativity and faster problem solving, because it increased your empathy as well. So you will think about other people's feelings. more open towards other people's ideas and perspectives. Like, for example, when Will and I have the same thinking, Micky might come up with the different views than Will and I wouldn't think of. So in that way, you can get a better outcomes. And again, everyone in the team is a leader in different areas. So even though Will is our boss, but when it comes to communicating with like Chinese students, Micky would be the boss. And when it comes to communicating with students from other countries, then I will be the boss. So yeah. All right, so this is actually my last slide. How to get other international exposure experience. Of course, studying abroad is one of the ways, and probably I would say it's the ways for you to get different experiences as well. But if you decided to just stay in your home country, you can still get this experience through, for example, international competition that requires team up with people from other countries, or even joining a workshop like this, because you actually have like a communication with me, Micky, and Will, who is from other countries. The second one is join a global club, for example, is ENZ. I'm not quite sure if you already know this, but usually in every universities, they have a ENZ club. And then the third one is study exchange. So maybe you can study in your home country and then have an exchange somewhere else for 6 months. And that could help as well. All right, so I hope my story is okay for you guys. But yeah, if you have any question, feel free to unmute your microphone or maybe put it in the chat box. But other than that, thank you so much, and I will hand it over back to Nga. Thanks, Nga.
Awesome, thank you very much for the session. And as I'm listening to you, I'm typing to the student, but I haven't sent yet because I haven't finished. But student, it is amazing that, I mean, it's you have listened to somebody that who shared the same fears, the obstacles, the same thought like of where you are right now. And as I look at the screen, Siti came here to New Zealand in 2017, and now it's only the beginning of 2022. She's already in the international team at Canterbury University. It means that it doesn't mean where you start. It's all about the mindset and about what you want, what you desire to do, and also you throw yourself out there. And I love it when you said, what did you say? You said the comfort zone is just the beginning of something amazing. So yeah, I share the same. Like sometimes I feel okay now. Now life is comfortable, but something's burning in me that I really want to achieve. And then, do I really want to sacrifice what I have got now to do something? But I mean, if you want something and if you don't do that, you will regret for the rest of your life. So it is just a story of a student from Indonesia, so close to Vietnam. And you listen to that, you can feel that it's so relevant, relate to what you are going through. So I believe that like one day you come to New Zealand to study, or you go to somewhere, and I mean, like if you set your path clearly and try to find the people that you can learn from, and you find the community that you want to like contribute as well, and one day you will be like Siti, and you will be like Micky. And it's just a wonderful way. Like, Will, and I just thank you very much, like for bringing in like your team from different backgrounds, that they can talk the same language and they can share the same experience. So, and I can see like some lovely messages here as well. Like Thành said, you are so amazing. And also Wendy Mayang said, your story is very exciting. And another question for you here, I would like to pass to you as well, like to answer the student. Like, do you have loneliness, and how can you overcome it? It's a good question. So would you like to address that to the student? Because I'm sure that others would like to hear as well.
Yeah, sure. So do I have loneliness and how I overcome it? Of course I do have, especially in the first 3 months, I think, because that time I didn't really know many students, and how to say, like, even though I have classmates, sometimes it's kind of hard for me to communicate with them because my English was very limited. So the way I overcome it is to to just come to different events on campus. And that's where I actually meet some students from Malaysia and then other students from other countries as well. And I think another way for me to overcome it is also by just trying to get different activities, because I remember the first 3 months I came here, I kept doing some research of what to do in the weekends in Christchurch. And even though I do it alone, but I actually kind of enjoy it. So it doesn't feel lonely. It feels something like you actually try to figure out the new city that you live in. And I think it's better to do that by yourself because you don't need to depending on other people. But of course, when it comes to interactions and stuff, I always constantly go to different events on campus. And other than that is also joining like clubs. It doesn't matter whether you got selected or not. At least you have that experience of, oh, okay, I'm applying for this. And if I get it, then I get it. But if I don't, then it's fine. It's a learning experience. And I think that's another thing that I want to point out about studying overseas. Like, you will have moments that you failed about something, like it's either you fail a course, hopefully not, or maybe you apply for something and you don't get selected, or you make mistake or something. But it's very normal. And I think it's one of the ways for you to actually learn and grow. So yeah, make as much mistakes as you can, so you can actually learn from it and grow from it.
Absolutely, thank you. And look, I can see another 2 questions here as well. So I just wonder if you would like to go through.
So yeah, I wonder how you could communicate with your friends at the time your English was limited. Did you ask them to repeat or explain things that you did not understand? Yes, I did that a lot. And sometimes it's so funny, even until now, in amongst our team, between me, Micky, and Will, when Will said something and I don't understand, I'll just ask him like, oh, what does that mean? I never heard that word before. And it's very common, right, Will, to have that. And between me and Micky, I think it's very funny because sometimes we don't know the words, but we just try to explain it and we understand each other, maybe because English is not our first language. But yeah, so don't be scared to actually communicate with other people from if your English is limited, because other students have a limited English as well, I bet, especially the one who come in the first year. So in a way, you actually learn from each other and you actually learn together.
Can I just add to that, Karina, just quickly?
Yeah.
And I think on the opposite side, when you are like myself in the country where your native language is being spoken, often we say things that are kind of without thinking, and we use sayings that we don't even think about whether someone else will understand that, or we speak in our accent or very quickly. And it's actually very good for us to have that pointed out. Like, I don't actually understand that, so that we can then reflect and think about how we can explain that more clearly. So I think sometimes we can be fearful about pointing it out, but it's not because we're trying to speak in a certain way, it's just done naturally. So it's good to have those questions asked, and it also helps us to clarify and think about, are we actually speaking in the clearest way possible?
Correct.
I also want to add one more thing is about the English. You might think like before I came to New Zealand, also like I think English is one of my biggest fear, because I thought my English was not that good and I might not be able to communicate with the native speaker here. But actually, I think making friends or like communications, English or the language is just one of the tools to help you communicate. You can use everything, like Karina mentioned, your body language or whatever, like to try to explain in a simple way, but everyone can understand. That's totally fine. And also sometimes now I kind of realize that actually my I do have I do have closer non-Chinese friends than Chinese friends. I think the reason is definitely not because of English. It's more because of we do share some similarities in terms of the personalities. for example, like Karina and I were very close, even without the workspace. We always hang out together after work. That's because like we have different and we have similar values in terms of lives, and then we share our personal and lives and stuff. So yeah, it wouldn't be a barrier for you to actually make friends to other people in other countries.
That's very true, especially when you have the same interests. Like, for example, if you're into football, then join a football club. I'm pretty sure you will meet a lot of people there. And English is just one of the, like Micky said, it's just one of the tools to communicate with them. But other than that, when you actually share the same interests, there's so much things that you can talk about and you can experience together. So yeah. I actually have another question here.
I would like to add just one more, like for the students,
yes.
because it's a topic that's like the students be like concerning the most, because they kind of like very like in confidence. And like for me, like I've been in New Zealand for the last 20 years, but then when I first arrived here, I couldn't really understand everyone but my husband. And then what I did was that I read newspapers every day, just from top to bottom and everywhere, even including like death notices or, you know, all of that, right? And then because of the fact that I read all the news and everything every day up to date, and also listening to the news, even I didn't understand at first, but I just sat there and I listened to it. But all of a sudden, like I could talk to anyone, old to young, young to old, about any type of topics, about tourism, about sports, like All Blacks, and about like in anything, even like economics and the news and what's going on, politics. So I think like for you to be able to fit in with the culture and can like be confident talking to other people without knowing that you had to be confident. It just came out naturally. And the knowledge that you gain is just from like experiencing like little by little, day by day. It's not about all of a sudden you have to absorb absolutely everything. So just do it every day on a daily basis, and just the way it goes. And you don't realize that how much you know until like you just talk to people naturally. So yeah, just never stop learning. Even us now, we never stop learning, still learning. And I'm learning from students as well. So just do it. That's the only way. Yeah,
that's very true. Yeah, thank you so much, Nga. Yeah, that's sorry. Also, there's another question. Thanks for your amazing story. Oh, thank you. Do you join other global clubs like Isaac, or could you recommend some? I only joined for Isaac, I think I only joined the first bit, which is just like opening of the club, and then after that I never come back. The reason is because it's how to say, like not all the clubs fits my interest, so I always try to find a club that actually interests me. Isaac is actually very good to start if you want to work in an international team. And the good thing is also it's not only amongst the university, but also the other university around New Zealand or even around the world. The other club that I would recommend, I think I'm not quite sure about the outside University of Canterbury, but if you're planning to come to UC, then there's a lot of clubs that I would recommend. I don't know where to start, but we even have a Vietnamese club here. And I think the good thing about still joining the clubs that where you're from, you still have people that you feel like home. But then again, like for example, for me, I joined the Malaysian Student Association is not because I don't like Indonesian people, but just because I feel like I want to be in a bubble with different people. So yeah, I think I don't know, maybe Micky or Will have other recommendation for that, like joining a global clubs. Do you maybe X culture or something, Micky?
Cool. Thank you for pointing this out. Yes, I think we do have a lot of, like, if you are in the kind of academic area, then probably you will be able to know more about the different projects that people are involved. How to say, like Karina mentioned about X culture, is actually was founded by an American, and not American, but it's from one of the American universities. And then his idea is very smart, that he wants to gather different university students to do the to do the business, to solve the business problems together for one of the global companies. So in that way, you will be able to work in a global team virtually, as well as to kind of get the connections from other people from other cultures. So I think within UC, we do have a lot of different clubs that Karina mentioned. I think in the video before that Na played, I think we have more than 180 plus clubs at University of Canterbury that you could explore. Like we said before, you can definitely find something that you're interested, whether it's a global clubs or it's just something that fit your interest, that would be totally fine. Yeah, just try to meet people, and I'm pretty sure you will benefit from that. Yeah, we'll just share the link of the X culture.
Yeah, and I think just to add to what Micky said, I mean, whether you're studying at Canterbury or any other university internationally, you know, there will be clubs. As said, we have about 180. There might be one of those clubs that is a Vietnamese club. The other 179 will be international. So choose any of them. As Karina said, choose the one that interests you. It could be the football club, it could be the frisbee club, it could be the politics club, it could be the theatre club. Any of those, you will be with people from other countries. You know, whether they might be all New Zealand plus you, but most likely there'll be, you know, multiple different countries represented. The main thing is you will share an interest because you're all there together. And because of that, you will build relationships. And that's the way you improve your English. That's the way you improve your openness, by naturally doing things that you like doing with people from other countries. And before you know it, you will be better. It's like with all forms of development, you don't necessarily know it as you're going, but you'll get to a point like where Karina is now, where Micky is now, where Na is now, you know, later, where you look back and you think, I was once that person that arrived here, you know, not speaking much English, not having much confidence in my ability to function in this country. And here I am, you know, doing it like I've been here for many, many years. So the only way you do that is by putting yourself out there and doing things that you like doing with other people from other countries.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you so much, Will. I think the last question is, how did you improve your English and be confident to present in front of many people? I think I've mentioned it before. Basically, I just joined the club, or even like because I personally don't like final exams, so I chose the courses that require me to do something else, which is like presentation or like a group project, something like that. So yeah, I just put myself out there and just try my best, I think, even though it's very nerve-wracking, but yeah. And I think one thing that I want to point out, if you want to know more about the international student lifestyle here in UC, or even in New Zealand in general, you can check this Instagram at ucnz.life. Basically, it's showing you the different like clubs as well in that available at UC, and also the international student lifestyle in general in Christchurch. Do you have difficulties when you first prepare for long essays in English in the university? Like it takes more time to think an idea in English or by other second language. How could you overcome it? Thank you. That's a very good question. Maybe Micky, you want to start? Do you want to share your own experience? Because Micky is she already did a thesis, so she's more next level than me.
I think definitely Karina can also give a very good point. I think from my personal experiences, more like how to say, like you're right. We think in different ways when we write things, and I think from maybe more Western or English academic writing way, you always point out the conclusion first, and then you give some evidences to back up your conclusion. So that's a very different compared to our own way of thinking. So I did one thing, like I I'm not sure about the other universities, but I do know that at UC, we have like academic skill set centers to help you to improve your academic English writing. They run the different workshops, and also they will really literally just teach you one step by one step to let you know how to build up your sentences, how to think in a English way, and when you write essays, the long essays. And also we do have some library subjections. So basically they will help you to read your essay before you submit your assignment, and then you will be able to just kind of adjust your essays based on their own feedbacks. So that's how I can get improved from my essay when I first came to New Zealand. But Karina, you can add some more if you have.
I think for me, I read more articles and journals. Like basically in every university that you go to, they will have the resources to give you this all articles and journals. And my way is like, if, for example, if the essay topic is about tourism, then I will read as many articles and journal as possible about tourism. And that's where I can actually think, see the perspectives of different people, and then I can try to relate it with my own thinking. So yeah, I think that's one of the ways. And then another one is similar to Micky. I just go to the academic skills center at UC, which I'm pretty sure every university have this service. So you just go there and then just ask their opinions. And obviously grammar is one of the things that we're scared of, right? When English is our second language. But to be honest, it's more than that. It's also about the topics. Like the grammar has to be nice. But when you have a very good point of view of your own, from your own perspectives, I think it will kind of show up like it kind of make the essay good as well, because you actually give your own ideas and thoughts from your own perspectives, but also related to other articles or journals, something like that. So yeah, that's how I overcome my difficulties when preparing for essays. But yeah, don't worry guys, I remember my first essay was C- actually, and I'm not embarrassed to say that, because after the semester after that I got A-. So that's how I learned. Like I said, like making mistakes and failed, it's not the end of the world. When I got that C-, I actually go to the lecturer and ask, why you give me C-? And she'd be like, okay, these are the things that you need to improve. And that's how you learn. And that's how I actually overcome it as well. So yeah.
I think that's a really good point, and something that Karina's very good at. She's probably too modest to say, but talking to the lecturer, not just after, but before. And, you know, I know here at the University of Canterbury, and I think it's the same in a lot of universities in New Zealand and around the world, the lecturer will be happy to, if you don't understand the question, to talk to you about that and help you to understand it. A lot of them here, they're even happy to read a draft of your essay beforehand. So they'll say, if you want to, please send me your draft and I'll give you comments before. But sometimes students are understandably too shy to do that. So it means they maybe don't get the best grade because they didn't really understand the question or the concept. So I think that comes back to that confidence that we talked a bit earlier about, and being willing to just put yourself out of your comfort zone and talk to make sure you understood and got feedback. Because as Karina said, I think more important than getting the grammar 100% is showing that you've understood and you've got a very good point in your reply, in your essay, a good argument, good evidence. Those are much more important than being 100% perfect with grammar.
Right. Awesome. Thank you very much. Last question.
How could you adapt to debate in class when you are not used to it before, or your vocabulary is not so strong? Thank you all so much. Adapt to debate in class.
Karina thinks she's always right, so it doesn't matter about her. She just argues very strong.
I think in class, what was it, Nga?
No, it's good to hear from the male colleagues to say that. It means it means that he is here to support you. Good. That's well, bro. That's why I like to work with you too.
Yeah. Adapt to debate in class. Maybe Micky have more arguments about this. I'm also confused a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, because I think the point is, like, you know, you might have a really good argument, but how do you express that? You know, like if English is not your first language, even though in your mind you've got this really good argument, you maybe can't get it out in the way that you want to, and that can be frustrating. So how, when you're having to have a discussion or a debate, not just in class but even in our team, how do you overcome that when it's not your first language?
Ability to express opinions.
Yeah, I think in terms of expressing opinions, if it's in the class, what I will usually do is, I think, to be honest, it really depends on the personality as well. Because if you're quite extroverted, you might not be like afraid of speaking in front of other people, but some people might be too introverted as well. But I do think for us who are quite shy, and also English is our second language, you can prepare some bullet points before you speak up. That's what I did every time when I have a meeting, even for now. Like every time when I have a very important meeting, then I need to express my own opinions or like to kind of say something, then I will write down the key points that I will have, and then just try to focus on these key points. Even though your English is not that good, then you can still express your main ideas, and then other people will be able to understand. So that's how I did. And in terms of the presentation, well, also I think Karina and Will might have some more suggestions. But from my personal experience, for me, it's just preparation. So like even for today's workshop, I prepared, like, I'm not lying, that I have done a lot of preparations before, just to make sure that I will really be able to demonstrate or elaborate my points clearly. So yeah, I think preparation is the key, and just to make sure that you also have some points in your slides, and then yeah, just try your best to express that. That's my own opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a very good points. I don't know what else to add, because I think Micky already explained everything. But from my own experience as a student, when there's questions before the presentation, and if it's something that I haven't prepared yet, I will actually told them I need a few minutes to think about the answer, and it's totally fine, because I think most people, even not only lecturers, most people, even your own manager, it's better for you to like the attributes that Micky mentioned, authenticity or honesty. Just tell them like, okay, I'm not quite sure about the answer. I need few minutes to answer it, and that's where you can actually think. And as long as your answer have like evidence or reason behind it, then you're all good, I think. Yeah. But
also, I'd like to add to this from my experience, that what I did before, and also I'm still doing it now, that I always, apart from like what you said, like research and prepare, and that's the key. So the more information you have, but also you need to learn like how to filter it and what really matches with what you are trying to present. But at the same time, another step that I normally do, that I have to look at like what are the common questions I may receive like from the audience, and if you had a chance and you have go to people, you go through that presentation. It is really important with you go through that and hear feedback. See what they say, doesn't matter if it's negative or positive, but any feedback is valuable for you, because from then you will take it on board, and then you will do revision on the presentation at the same time and make it better. But always get feedback and research and prepare. That will give you a lot of knowledge as well as experience, and also prepare yourself in any kind of situation. You'll be able to express yourself in a way that people, it doesn't matter, it's different to the audience, but if you can demonstrate your valid points and the evidence to back up what you're trying to express, then that's winning. Yeah.
Thanks, Nah. And I think I know that we're talking about how you express yourself when you're in a country where it's not your native language, and how you have a debate or a discussion like that. One thing I want to say as well, in terms of the topic we've talked about today, when you're in the other position, so when you're in a situation where it is your first language and you're in a discussion with people where it's not their first language, as a global ethical leader, as someone who is good at working in an international team, you need to be very conscious of that, because sometimes people use language almost like a weapon. For example, if I wanted to have a debate with someone who doesn't speak English as a first language, I could use words to win that debate. I can use difficult words, challenging words. I can essentially close down that conversation by using my own language as a weapon. But that's not helpful, that's not constructive, and that's not going to lead to the best outcomes. So I need to be aware that there are people here who may have very good ideas, but they're not able to express that in the same way that I can. So I need to open up the floor and give them the space and the confidence and comfort to be able to express their views. Just like if I came to Vietnam and I was the only non-Vietnamese person in a room, you could easily exclude me from that conversation and win a discussion. But you could also try to include me and open it up and give me the ability to talk. So I think that's a very important attribute of a global leader. Now, I know we've taken a lot longer time. We do have the Kahoot quiz as well.
Yes.
If there are any other questions, of course, we're happy to answer, but when ready, we can also do that.
Yeah, I think if the students, they have any other question, you can type and then we can address it as we go along. But now, shall we just do the Kahoot, because we have 500,000 Vietnam dong as the prize as well. So. And,
all right.
But also because like today we have a lot of questions in the Q&A, which is really, really good. And I also would be able to help you to learn more about what you like to study at the university. I have posted the link there for you as well. You can type it in and then I can create a mini workshop to support you at the same time. Because right now we have like 3 awesome people right here for you to ask all of the important questions. So we'd rather do that. Yeah, so the link that I posted, the Google form, you can do that. And if your team can get the Kahoot game ready, that would be awesome.
All right, so I'm just gonna share my screen here. Can everyone see the game pin?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So if you can just open kahoot.com, I think, or open the Kahoot app, and then you can either scan the QR code on the screen or just put the game pin and put your names there.
Yeah. So student, can you just type in like kahoot.it? And then the game, the pin as well, can take you there.
All right, we have 1 person, 2 now.
Okay.
So how many, how much is it again? Is it 500, 5,000?
500,000 Vietnam dong, because
oh,
it was
500,000.
Yes, not New Zealand dollars. I had to ask Will to sponsor if it was 500,000 New Zealand dollars. Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys listening, like actually listen to everything that Will, Micky, and I said, then you probably can win this Kahoot and get 500,000
Vietnam đồng.
Vietnam đồng. Yeah, Vietnam đồng. Okay, we have 9 people now. So we just wait until at least it's 20, I think, or 21. Because we have 25 participants at the moment.
It's about lunchtime in Vietnam, that's why.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so anyone, we just waiting. Can I send you the link? Oh, really? Okay, so it's .kahoot.it. Right, this one here.
Or kahoot.com, I think it can.
IT. So we will click on the link here and then you got enter the PIN number.
Can you guys hear the song as well? Okay.
We give 2 more minutes and then you can sign in.
Let's go. Oh, we lost 1 person. Okay. Anyone having difficulties to join? Okay, should we start now or wait for?
Yeah, start now.
Okay, cool. All right. This was Will's point. We'll check if you still remember or not. %89. Only 4 people get it right.
Wow.
Oh. We'll see. Oh, GP now lead the highest score. What percentage of the New Zealand population was born overseas in 2018? Oh, 8 people got it right. That's very good. Now Hien is leading the score. All right. We have 10 questions, guys. So now it's the third one. Oh, only 2. We'll see. Min Chao leading the score now. Okay, so this is the 4th question. This should be easy. if you guys listening.
This is to test your English, you're listening.
Nice.
That's good, well done. That's great.
Oh, Min Chao. I don't know, sorry if I pronounced the name wrong.
You've done well.
Correct. That's good. Wow. Seems like we kind of know the winner, but we'll see. So it's a true or false statement. If you think this is true, then answer the blue one. Okay. Nice. Wow. All right, 3 more questions. Ethics includes personal and cultural values. True or false? Whee! That's very good. Wow, Min Chao, seems like you're gonna get 500,000. That's nice. Okay, so I think this is the last question. Oh no, this is the second last. I think we talk about this a lot. That's good. Wow, Min Chao, you're head of the game. Okay, do you still remember this?
That's a good one. I should have joined.
Ah, that's nice. Okay, we'll see who's the winner. So the third one is KP. Second one is Hien. Yay! Congratulations, Min Chao.
Well done.
Perfect.
Well done, thank you. Congratulations, you've done very well. And Cho, would you like to unmute yourself and say a few words? Because you are the winner.
Yes.
Hi. I don't know, because I'm kind of nervous now. And also, I feel really great to win this Kahoot game. So yeah, when the first time we got a Kahoot game and maybe the workshop one, I hadn't win, but now I can get the chance to get the prize. So I'm really happy right now. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. We're so proud of you too. And if you can text me on the platform, Road to Success platform, and reach out to me of like who you are, and so name obviously I can see it now, but and then the schools that you are studying at the moment, and also your bank account number. I will be in touch with you, and also our team will prepare a certificate for you as well. Yeah, something for you to take away and remember the workshop done by Canterbury University, and the whole team has spent significant time and effort and all the goodness like for all of our students who learn from as well. So yeah, so keep in touch with me on the platform, and we'll have a conversation after the workshop.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So you're welcome. So I guess our session, do we have anything else that you may have? Or have we finished it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Well done. Do you have anything else?
Done from our end.
Okay, that's awesome. So now the students, like we have already, it's already 11:30 in Vietnam and 4:30 in New Zealand, and I'd like to, on behalf of students and schools as well, we have few schools here today, and they were going to bring their students in here, but then they have other unexpected events, and but the schools requested me to send the recordings because it's something that's really important for their students, and I'm going to do that. And on behalf of school and the student, I'd like to express our gratitude to Wells and Micky and Karina. I should have called you Karina instead of Siti like before. Yeah, so thank you very much for like spending the afternoon in New Zealand with us. I know that we don't work on Sunday, but we truly appreciate you for being here today and stay until like the end and answer all of the questions and support our students. So thank you very much. And also I'd like to thank all of our students as well for being here and stay to the end at the same time. We had about over 70 students registered for this workshop today, and they come and they go. And but I will send all the recordings for all of the students who registers, and also reach out to them and support furthermore for the scholarship at the university, as well as if they have any other questions about anything related to the university, I will pass it on down the track. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for being here. And Will, I would like to invite you to have the last word with the students before we go, we wrap up.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Na. I think just to say thank you, I think I can speak for Micky and Karina and say we really enjoyed both preparing for this session, but also doing it. And we've been very impressed with the comments and the questions. We know how difficult it is to, you know, have the confidence to express yourself, especially digitally. It's quite difficult, but all of the things that you've said and all of the questions that you've asked have been really valid and valuable. So keep going, keep pushing your boundaries and your comfort zone and chasing your dreams, and we're sure you'll all go on to achieve great things. And if you do have any further questions about the topic or about studying here or anything else, please feel free to get in touch. Maybe the easiest way is either of course we have email addresses that probably Na can share, but also through that ucnz.life Instagram account, you can also send a private message on that, and Karina will receive that, and we're happy to discuss and get back to you with anything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for organizing. It's been very good.
Lovely, and thank you for supporting NZSB. And this is such a privilege for us to have you to run this workshop, because it's not just about like, you know, just the scholarship, but also like what you do with that, and also how you can be very successful in New Zealand and make the most of your time here. And it's that's why this workshop is so valuable for our students. And hopefully, like some of you here in the rooms, we'll see you in New Zealand at UC. All right, so I guess I can return you back to your families, and everyone can have lunch and dinner in New Zealand as well. So enjoy the rest of your evening here in New Zealand and the rest of your day in Vietnam. And yeah, I guess we can see you next time.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much,
Bye.
guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. There's a lot of lovely messages here for you as well.
Yeah.
So lovely to see all of this. I just screenshot a few and then I'll send to you as well to share with you. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you take care and thank you very much, everyone.
See you. Have a nice day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you.
Goodbye. Have a nice day.
You too. See you.